This channel has been known to trigger leftists and trolls alike. Proceed with extreme caution. You have been warned.
An intense case of road rage ending with a woman brutally beaten with a bat.
Billy Shamirmir is charged with capital murder for the death and robbery of an 81-year-old far North Dallas woman and 2 counts of attempted capital murder for attacking and robbing a 91-year-old Plano woman and a 93-year-old Frisco woman.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
Just Tuesday, we have 5 known cases of fraud, $12,000 of refunds that we were able to identify, stop, and never send out the door.
Shamirmir uses healthcare experience to his advantage in targeting and exploiting seniors, some of the most vulnerable people in our community.
After I got hit with the first bat, I just grabbed her and we started, kind of wrestling on the floor, so I got the bat away from her.
This is terribly disturbing.
I don't know what they got against them. I think that's cold-blooded.
Tonight, 4 deputies named in our report are both out of a job and they're criminally charged.
Being able to prevent them from being in law enforcement anymore, it's a huge get for the district attorney's office.
I don't know what they got against them. I think that's cold-blooded.
This is terribly disturbing. This is terribly disturbing. This is terribly disturbing. This is terribly disturbing.
Damn!
Now YouTube censored. Now YouTube censored.
I'm mad as hell right now. Yes, I am.
Viewer discretion is advised. Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
There's a massive effort in 4 North Texas cities to find out if a man arrested for the murder and attempted murder of 3 elderly women has many more victims.
Billy Shamirmir is charged with capital murder for the death and robbery of an 81-year-old far North Dallas woman and 2 counts of attempted capital murder for attacking and robbing a 91-year-old Plano woman and a 93-year-old Frisco woman. Police say he was a home health care worker. We have team coverage tonight. Fox 4's Alex Boyer is in Plano with more on those crimes. First, Lynn Wynn is in Dallas with more on the entire investigation. Lynn.
Well, Steve and Heather, police believe that Shamirmir may have been linked to crimes in 4 cities, at least so far, but the full scope of this is still unknown. Investigators don't know how long this is going on for or how many victims there may be. They plan to review hundreds of cases of unattended deaths in the meantime, and maybe calling the FBI for help to review some of those cases.
We're not going to leave any stone left unturned.
Possibly hundreds of victims across multiple cities could be linked to 45-year-old Billy Shamirmir. Police say the suspect was a healthcare worker who sometimes posed as a maintenance man, tricking his way into homes.
Shamirmir uses healthcare experience to his advantage in targeting and exploiting seniors, some of the most vulnerable people in our community. This is terribly disturbing.
Police were tipped off to Shamirmir after 2 attempted murders and robberies of elderly women in Plano and Frisco, where the victims survived. While conducting surveillance on him at his apartment complex on Pear Ridge Lane, Plano officers saw him dump a jewelry box, which they linked back to the far North Dallas home of 81-year-old Lou Thee Harris. When officers went there to check on Harris, she had what appeared to be lipstick smeared on her mouth, and a pillow on her bed also had lipstick smears, indicating she may have been suffocated. Officers also found a set of keys in the suspect's car that fit Harris's front door.
We're worried we could have more in the city of Dallas, too, so we've already begun that research, looking up any other possible things. And
police know of other possible cases in Frisco, Richardson, Plano, and Dallas so far, but investigators will review hundreds of other unattended death cases to see if Shamirmir may have been involved. Dallas alone plans to review upwards of 750 cases.
The elderly females, of course, is where we began, because that's the pattern that we see right now.
Police say criminal records on Shamirmir date back to at least 2010, so that's where they'll start. Shamirmir has also been charged with trespassing, DWI, and assault in a 2012 case involving his girlfriend at the time. Court records show he beat her with a small pot during an argument, leaving her with knots on her head, a busted lip, bleeding, and pain, then started cutting the couch with a knife. Shamirmir is from Kenya and does have an immigration hold on him. Police say he may have been in North Texas earlier than 2010, but those are the earliest records they have of him, so that is where they will start reviewing those cases. They're asking anyone who may have had contact with him to call their tip line, which will be manned by detectives around the clock.
Of the gate here, some big developments today in the criminal investigation into double dipping by some Tarrant County Constable deputies.
A CBS 11 I-Team investigation last year exposed deputies over at Precinct 8 working private security jobs while they were on the clock for the county. Tonight, 4 deputies named in our report are both out of a job and they're criminally charged. Andrea Lucia broke this story and is live tonight.
This precinct started the day with 9 deputies. Tonight, it has just 5. Retirement and terminations followed new indictments released today, and the second guilty plea we've seen in 2 days.
Deputy Johnson, you want to say anything?
No, I don't. Former Deputy Constable Keith Johnson walked out of the Tarrant County Jail trailing fellow former deputy Jason Lockett. Both were booked in this afternoon and immediately posted bond hours after they were fired by the county. Our investigation last year found them working private security jobs at Walmart and Fiesta, while claiming on county timesheets they worked full days for Precinct 8. Newly released indictments show they're now both charged with 1 count of theft by a public servant and 5 counts of tampering with a government record. They're accused of making false entries on county time cards and costing Tarrant County hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The news follows guilty pleas from Deputy Hayward Charles and the precinct's chief deputy, Arnold Holmes. Court records show Holmes admitted to assigning deputy constables to work at Fiesta Mart while they were supposed to be on duty with Tarrant County. In plea deals with the DA's office, both Holmes and Charles agreed to repay the county thousands of dollars, testify in future trials, and permanently surrender their law enforcement licenses.
Being able to prevent them from being in law enforcement anymore, it's a huge get for the district attorney's office.
Former federal prosecutor Brian Poe says the plea deals also ensure, if needed, these now retired deputies are ready to testify against their old colleagues.
These individuals have said, look, we will commit to testifying truthfully if called.
The county says Holmes and Charles both retired effective today. Constable Michael Campbell is the elected official overseeing this precinct. I did reach out to him today, but have not received a response. The indictments, though, show that he and 4 other constable deputies appeared as witnesses before the grand jury when it heard these cases.
Between January and March of 2016, 2 men from Nigeria, Osariaman Isabor and Enyadanya, conspired to commit wire fraud by stealing the personal information of hundreds of Vermont state employees. On Thursday, they admitted to doing it.
I believe I got the email. I was at the Department of Financial Regulation at the time as Deputy Commissioner, and the email was very deceiving, convincing. I've always been very suspicious of things like that.
The information was obtained when an email was sent to employees. It linked to a site that would capture the data. It's a practice known as phishing. And there are a few things to remember to avoid being scammed.
When you get something like that, an email, whether it's allegedly from your bank, employer, financial institution, if you think it may be legitimate and something you need to follow up on, find your own way to that website and find your own way to that phone number they're asking you to call. Don't hit the link.
According to the Vermont Department of Taxes, they plan to use the information to file fraudulent tax returns. These type of scams are crucial to look out for this tax season.
Just Tuesday, we have 5 known cases of fraud, $12,000 of refunds that we were able to identify, stop, and never send out the door.
After the scam email was discovered, Samson says the employees who had their information compromised were monitored closely by the tax department to keep the state from handing out fraudulent returns.
Now at 6:30, beaten with a bat, a woman surviving a terrible attack, managing to capture it all on camera. She says the road rage fueled the vicious attack.
And this morning, she's still recovering and speaking to just one station about her terrifying encounter. 7's Lorena Estrada, live in Lauderdale Lakes with this exclusive. Lorena, good morning.
Good morning. We did talk to the woman who says she was beaten. She says it all started when she caught off a driver. She then pulled into this plaza here, and that's when she was confronted by that driver and her sister, who was in a separate car. And she's now hoping that the incident that was caught on camera leads to their arrest.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. What?
An intense case of road rage ending with a woman brutally beaten with a bat. The victim, who is still badly bruised, spoke to 7 News and says it all went down last Thursday when she cut a woman off while driving on 441.
What? I'm not scared. I'm not scared. What?
She says the woman's sister, who was driving a different car, saw what happened, and from there, she says both women began chasing her.
What? I'm not scared. I'm not scared. What?
You don't cut my sister off. That's disrespectful.
Fearing for her safety, the victim says she pulled into the South Lake Shopping Plaza off Oakland Park Boulevard trying to get away.
Her sister actually blocked me in, and the other sister blocked me in from behind. I had nowhere to go.
The women seen here walked towards the victim while carrying the bat, beginning to yell racial slurs and then start bashing her in the head, she says.
After I got hit with the first bat, I just grabbed her and we started, kind of wrestling on the floor. So I got the bat away from her. And while I'm wrestling with her, the other sister with the wooden bat just started hitting me in the back of the head.
Yo, you guys need to chill out, man.
People nearby rushed to help. The beating leaving this bloody wound, and the victim rushed to the hospital.
5 stitches on the top and 2 inside. I got 7 staples in the back of my head from when the other sister was hitting me in the back, and they broke my nose.
Now, as the victim continues to counter blessings, she's hopeful this video can help police find her abusers.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive and not brain dead or anything like that, because I know it could have been a lot worse.
And we did reach out to the Broward Sheriff's Office. We are still waiting to hear from them to see where they stand in this case. We're live in Lauderdale Lakes this morning. Lorena Estrada, today in Florida.
I think it's cold-blooded.
And now at 9, the party pickup currently underway in downtown Miami. Crews cleaning up after revelers rave at the Ultra Music Festival.
But it wasn't all fun in the sun. A troubling social media post caused concert concern over the weekend. A picture of a man with a gun triggering festival fear and prompting police to take action. 7's Rebecca Vargas is live in downtown Miami with the exclusive. Rebecca?
Yeah, well, police were able to track down that man. They had him in custody and were questioning him all night last night after he posted to his social media a picture of himself holding this big gun and then referencing Ultra Music Festival.
It's an ultra disturbing post. This shot showing up on social media, and now the guy you see here is in hot water. This picture is captioned, "Ready for the weekend." It features a man holding one big gun with a second one on the table. The post includes the hashtags TGIF, Ultra Music Festival, and MMW 2018. The name on the Instagram account, Rain Russell, out of Fort Lauderdale. Police say they have this guy, and he's facing lots of questions.
I'm very worried because, you know, when there's a lot of people, when there's a big crowd, you don't know what kind of person might do something crazy.
He appears to be laughing in the photo, but people attending the music festival say a post like that is no joke.
It's like, it's a madness, you know. It's scary, and it was freaking me out.
I don't know what his intentions were, but I hope they weren't bad.
Deja vu, my friend, you know, just like it happened in Las Vegas.
After last year's massacre at an outdoor music festival in Las Vegas, security was even tighter at this year's Ultra, and any and every form of threat was taken seriously. That's why just hours after attending the festival himself, this man was in for a long night with Miami police.
And this morning, still no word if that man is facing any charges, but officials do say that with the world we live today, that they can't take these posts lightly at all. Reporting live in downtown Miami, I'm Rebecca Vargas, today in Florida.
Police officers and coffee shops usually go hand in hand, but as our crime reporter Henry Lee tells us, a cafe in Oakland is refusing to serve uniformed officers.
It all started when an Oakland police sergeant stopped by Hasta Muerte in Oakland's Fruitvale district to introduce himself and to buy a cup of coffee, but the sergeant was denied service. According to this letter to the cafe from the Oakland Police Union, cafe staff told the sergeant that it, quote, does not serve the police. Obviously, this is both a surprise and a matter of concern for all Oakland police officers. It's a surprise to many residents as well.
I don't know what they got against them. I think that's cold-blooded.
The cafe hasn't responded to the police union's letter they sent 2 weeks ago requesting an explanation. Cafe managers declined to comment to KTVU. But Councilmember Noel Gallo, who represents the Fruitvale District, spoke to cafe managers Thursday and confirmed it's still the business's unwritten policy.
My understanding is they're not going to serve our police officers. I don't agree with that 100%. I think that we ought to work together, not against each other.
So if you're a uniformed officer trying to get a cup of coffee here, you'll probably be asked to leave. You're going to be a persona non grata. The cafe opened several months ago at the corner of East 27th Street and Fruitvale. It isn't your typical coffee shop. Its name is Spanish for Until Death. It's a worker-owned collective with a mural outside decrying fatal police shootings and law enforcement militarization. In other words, it probably won't host the next Coffee with a Cop if they're not even serving cops.
I don't think it's fair. They should. They protecting them. If somebody breaking in there, who are they going to call? The police.
I think that if a group of people don't feel safe with a police officer who's currently on duty coming into a space, and they want people in this neighborhood to feel safe coming into their space, then that is a choice they should be able to make.
So for now, police with a caffeine fix will probably end up at the Starbucks or Pete's up the street. In Oakland, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Breaking in the last 10 minutes, the Washington County DA sent us these pictures of a heroin bust in Houston. You're looking at 50 bricks of suspected heroin, possibly even fentanyl. The DA says Alyssa Adkins and Vashon Wright were trafficking drugs into Cannonsburg. Investigators said they also found 3 loaded guns and $25,000 inside their house on North Main Street.
Memphis, Tennessee. The last suspect involved in the murder of 7-year-old Memphis girl has been sentenced. Carl Johnson was sentenced to 25 years in prison. He pleaded guilty after he admitted to police he was the driver in the drive-by shooting of 7-year-old Kirsten Williams. In 2015, Kirsten Williams was shot hours after the fatal shooting of another Memphis girl, 15-year-old Kataria Stokes. Williams was killed while she was playing outside down the street from her home. Kataria's brother, Carlos Stokes, was one of the men later convicted in Kirsten's death. Stokes was accused along with Jordan Clayton and Brandon Brookins of killing Kirsten in retaliation for Kataria's death. Stokes, Brookins, and Clayton are serving life sentences.
I didn't pull out my gun.
You was about to.
You was about to.
No, I wasn't.
Did you feel threatened? Because he was behind you?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. That's crazy. No, he don't know. Bro, what? Oh, this is about what? It's about what? Like what? What the fuck is you talking about? Live here like what? Like what? You need help. Come back later, pussy. What the fuck is you talking about? I'm right here. So take the badge off. Take the badge off. Take the badge off. Take the bag off. Yo, take. I feel on guard. I will beat the shit out of you, my man.
Suck my dick then. Get the fuck out of here.
I will beat the shit out of you.
Suck my dick, nigga.
Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Stop burping. Suck my dick. Shut up.
Bye, Jackie Chan. Suck my dick. Goodbye.
Shut up. Get out of here.
Goodbye. Suck my dick. Goodbye.
Get out of here.
Suck my dick.
Shut up.
Goodbye.
Take your badge off.
Fuck is you talking about? Goodbye.
Cocksuckers.
Fucking pig.
I think it's cold-blooded.
A trip to Costa Rica did not last as long as Patriot safety Deron Harmon thought it would. That's because police discovered some unexpected items in his luggage. They found 58 grams of marijuana hidden inside a can of iced tea. They also found pipes and cannabis oil, THC candy, and 4 glass containers of compressed pot. Police had beefed up their security checks during spring break there. Harmon was briefly detained, but has now returned to the United States. In a post on Instagram tonight, Harmon apologized for the incident, saying he is, quote, committed to doing everything in my power to regain the trust and respect of everyone who believes in me.
Special thanks to our G Channel's contributor T. Martin.
And as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also follow us on the usual media for more and interesting information like this.
Channel moderators are Jer Shax and Michael Thomas. Thanks for your diligence and dedication.
Fight their asses.